So you spent big money on that drone and now you're a bit nervous about flying it for the first time. Well, this video is for you.
Hello, welcome to the one. This video is dedicated to showing you or someone who is totally brand new to drones how to get started, how to get set up, how to get your drone from the box, or in my case, I got the DJI Mini 2 Fly More combo. And that's actually the drone that I recommend for you to get started with. There are reasons for that, and I will explain those in another video. But like the short of it is that this drone flies reliably. It is very easily controlled. So the chances of you flying into some stationary object or something or crashing it are much less than with a cheap drone. And I won't demonstrate this today, but you gotta take my word for it. So before you get started, you gotta get the drone out of the package. Don't forget to take off the gimbal guard. See what I have on there? It's an ND filter. You don't have to worry about that at first. There's a way to unfold this drone. Do it carefully. The front arms unfold first. Then you unfold the back ones because of the way they go. So before you ever take off, you want to check some basic things. Of course, you want to check if there are any obstacles around you that you might hit. You also have to check for people. In Canada, you're not supposed to fly closer than 30 meters or 100 feet from bystanders if you don't have a license, or in case of the sub 250 gram drones, which is more than likely what you'll be starting off with. That's what I recommend anyways. You have to make sure you're not in a controlled airspace. You have to be no less than 5.6 kilometers away from an airport or 1.9 kilometers away from a heliport. You also want to check that your drone is in good working order. Are the propellers tight? Are there any cracks in the frame? What about your gimbal? Does it move freely? How about these babies here, those motors? Do they spin freely? Your battery level, you check it with a click here. And there'll be 4 bars coming on if your battery is fully charged. You can also see this on the app, as I'll show you momentarily. Now, do you have a memory card in there? The slot's right there. You'll need a memory card for the mini drone because it does not have internal storage at all. Also, what's recommended is before you take off, to spread your propellers like so. That'll simply, when the propellers start spinning really fast, it'll help balance them. That's all. Alright, to get you started flying, you will need your controller. I am using the RC-N1 controller. That's the one that came with the Fly More combo. It's the most simple one you can get for this. There are controllers available that have a screen built in already, which can be an advantage, I guess. However, I don't really know because I haven't had the pleasure of trying one out. That's one of the things on my wish list. You got to put your phone in there. So in order to do that, you pull this out. These are actually antennas. There's a little wire it's hidden inside there. So then you grab your phone and you put it in here like this. And plug it in here. Then you got these little sticks here. They go in there. Those are your control sticks. They control the movement of the drone. See, they screw in like so. There. And the controller is basically all set up. Now, before I go flying, what I always do, and I highly recommend this, I have an app on my phone here that's called the Drone Pilot Canada app. It'll show me where I am located. See, that's where the blue dot is. That's where I'm at. And it's called Bon Accord, undisclosed location. Yeah, see, there's no restrictions here, at least not as far as the airspace goes. So we're good to go. I put new flight. Now I can read, I could check my weather. It's got all the important things there that we might want to know. You'd have to fill this in. So we're going to just put cancel for now and get out of this app. And instead, I'll get into the DJI app. So as soon as I do this, I need to activate my controller, which is a double click on this button here. If you just click it once, see, nothing happens except that it'll show you the battery level. But if you double click it, hear that sound? Now the controller is activated. In order to take off, I got to do the same thing with my drone. It's that button there. There's a click. Now it's changing the picture, and now I can see what the drone sees. In the upper right corner, this red thing here means that the satellites are not connected yet. That'll turn orange when there's a certain number of satellites that are connected, and then it'll turn white when you have satellite lock, which means it's good to go.
Home point updated.
See, you hear this? It says home point updated. Now, there are 3 dots here. If you click on those, all your settings will show up. The first column here is for safety. My maximum altitude is set at 120 meters, which is the maximum legal. Max distance is 2,000 meters, which is actually a little bit more than I should be flying. But I like to get a little bit of leeway in that regard. And the return to home altitude, I got it set at 100 meters, which is quite high. Living in the city, I usually leave it at that because I know that there are no structures that'll be between the drone and I when I have it coming home. You can set this at any height you want or you feel comfortable at. Update home point, you could do that if necessary, if you're changing positions. I've never done that. You don't need to worry about that when you're learning to fly the drone. It says the compass and MIU are normal. You can calibrate that. Now let's try and see what happens when I click this. There are instructions here on the screen that pop up. It says keep clear of objects with an electrical charge and ensure the distance between the aircraft and the ground is around 1.5 meter. I think we could do that. And keep the aircraft powered on and avoid starting the motors. Okay, let's get started. See, now we have to rotate the aircraft 360 degrees horizontally. And now we have to rotate the aircraft 360 degrees vertically. And there, our calibration is completed. I'm not going to go through the MIU right now. There are more infos on here about the battery, advanced settings. We don't need this. We leave the stick settings the way they are. One of the things you should make sure when you're first flying is that you are in an area where there are no obstructions. Because, I mean, obviously, the last thing you want is to hit something with your drone. So here it's wide open. The chance of me flying into anything are remote. Now, in order to get this drone off the ground, I do this. See, and now the propellers are spinning.
Home point updated.
This stick is for up and down. We're looking right at us now with the drone. If I wanted to go backwards, see, first I'm going to adjust the gimbal so that'll look down on us more. Go like this. Turn it counterclockwise. Now remember that the drone is facing us, so when I go sideways, I have to go the stick this way toward the right in order to make it go left, see? And I turn it toward the left in order to go right, because the drone is looking at us from backwards. to turn. I use this one. It goes the same way. We're just turning the drone. Want to make it come closer to us. This stick up goes forward because we're facing the drone. It goes toward us. Go back again. Pull this stick down. Now, what I like to do is to go around objects. In order to do that, we go on this stick, just go sideways, and at the same time we turn this one to keep us in the center of the picture. Now, the closer you are to the object, the more difficult that actually is to do. But that's one of the moves you want to practice because it'll just pop up over and over again when you want to get some interesting footage.
Now that the drone is in the air, we might as well gain altitude and look around for something that is interesting. How about that grain elevator that I could see within close proximity? Let's head over there. See, now I'm using the exact move that I showed you before, and I'm at an altitude where there's nothing to hit. Having said that, always keep an eye out for airplanes or birds.
Return to home.
Height is 100 meters, and now you can see the distance rapidly declining.
Return to home in normal mode or sport mode, as Cine mode is really slow. And by the way, you can also turn your gimbal while you're returning to home, getting a nice shot. Once the drone has started descending, I take over the manual control for better precision. Now let's go through some more of the settings in the app. When I scroll down here, I find a battery info tab, and it tells me everything about my battery. It has 72 cycles on it, and right now there's still some charge on it, as you can see. Now back in the safety column, I go to advanced setting. It says set safety related functions, including the aircraft behavior when disconnected and the emergency propeller stop. You can set what you want the aircraft to do when the signal is lost. You can have it return to home, descend, or hover. I usually leave mine on return to home, except when I'm on a boat, for example, where the return to home point would be in the water. The emergency propeller stop will do just that. Don't use it unless you're in big trouble. Now there's a feature where you can find your drone in case you lose it. This can guide you right back to where your drone was last located, and then you can turn on a beeper that'll help you find it when you're walking around in the field or whatever. Let's move to the control column. You can have your units in metric, in kilometers or meters, and imperial. The LED mode can be adjusted as well, and even the color. Now for the gimbal mode, you have a selection of follow mode and FPV mode. Follow mode will keep your gimbal straight or aligned with the horizon, while the FPV mode will rotate it along with the aircraft. Allow upward gimbal rotation is definitely something I recommend. It allows you to tilt the gimbal beyond level, which is cool. Now there's an option where the controller can charge your phone. That is particularly valuable when you have an iPhone that drains the battery really fast when it's cold outside. Another advanced option is the modification of your stick mode. I always keep mine in mode number 2 because I don't want the confusion that could result from messing around with it. Next column is all your camera settings. I like to keep my histogram and overexposure warning up. White balance is automatic right now. Play with it if you like. The next column is transmission. You have options between 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz or dual band. I would always leave this on dual band and automatic because the drone will scan the band and automatically find the best frequency for transmission, as you can see here with the graph.
Home point updated.
Thank you, sweetie.
The final column is called About, and this is where you check for firmware updates and you can see what version you actually have on your drone and on your controller. You will need to be connected to the internet in order to update these things.
I hope this little tutorial will help you figure out how to get your drone up in the air. Please gently touch the like button if you enjoyed this video or found it useful, or hopefully maybe even both. It's starting to rain here, even though there was no rain on my weather app. That's another thing you have to keep in mind, because local weather can be quite different from what it actually tells you on your app. So what I'm going to do here is just pack this up and go home. And then I'm going to review my footage and I'm going to see if there's anything that I was missing, because, you know, I didn't come here with a script or anything like that. I had to actually put myself in the mindset of myself when I first started flying, which was quite nervous, to be honest with you. I'll see you in the next video.
Hey, please let me know if I left anything out or something is unclear. Leave me a comment so I can address it in a future video. In the meantime, why don't you watch one of my other videos? They're all about drones and I'm sure you'll love them.